ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Classic MMA Revival, starring your favourite Australian. It is I, Alistair, Master of Gentlemen's Combat, and today we are watching Battlecade Extreme Fighting 4. We're going to open on a digest match here, which is Thomas Glanville taking on Gary Myers. Just going to turn that down a bit. Sorry for the peek behind the curtain. But yeah, so this match is an interesting one in that it was edited down, mostly because John Peretti had actually paid for Thomas Glanville's training. And because John Peretti is an asshole, Thomas Glanville eventually decided halfway through the match, getting sick of Peretti talking shit about Gary Myers, started giving him the finger. Unfortunately, we don't see that in this little preview, but we will see a little bit. So today we have other matches, including Alan Goez versus... I believe it's Alan Goez versus Tom Bentham. Tom Bentham versus Alan Goez. Matt Hume versus Pat Miletich. Eric Paulson taking on Paul Jones. Kenny Monday taking on John Lewis. Kevin Jackson taking on John Loba. And Maurice Smith taking on... Remember that ditch ship from Pride 1? It is Kazunari Murakami, which should be very exciting for us all to see. Mind you, now we're just waiting for Gary and Tom to not do very much. Of course, you can see that Tom Glanville has a couple of feet on Gary the Iron Bear Myers, who was a very short man, but he was a very tough fighter at the time, sort of a top-level journeyman, if that can be described. He also has zero idea of how to circle, given that he is shortening his stance every time he walks backwards. I will do my best to talk over John Peretti. I have shortened this match down to, I removed all the extraneous bullshit. It is literally just the matches, but there will still be some of John Peretti's garbage. Basically, anytime John Peretti opens his mouth, it is garbage. But you know, I do my best to minimize that for you, so you don't have to deal with whatever the fuck he has to say. So we've got Gary Myers on top, wrestling Thomas Glanville. Let's see what Myers can do. The Iron Bear. Of course, only showed up in Pancras the one time that I can find against Yuki Kondo. Got toe-holded to death after being kicked in the noggin.
But he should have one hook in, and he does not. He has both hooks outside.
I'm not sure what John Peretti is trying to say. I think he's trying to suggest that Thomas Glanville should go to a butterfly guard. I'm sure that he would if he could. But Gary Myers has got them big old hips. Gary Myers has childbearing hips to describe them any better. And so he's putting a lot of pressure on our man Thomas Glanville here. And of course Myers is going to wrestle Glanville. So he's going to be on him the entire time, just working cross faces, whatever else. Whether or not he actually attempts to pass guard is going to be something we may or may not see. Nice punch from Myers there. And a nice big chunk of VHS artifacting. That is what we want to see. Anytime we watch a match from the 1990s, we want to see them VHS artifacts to give us the aesthetic reason for the reason we're watching this show. Good crossfaces from Gary Myers here, digging his forearm into the throat of Glanville. Hammer fist. Just sort of hands on the face of Glanville, which would be deeply uncomfortable. Glanville trying to work his guard, but, you know, not doing his best. So, according to Paul Lazenby, Glanville had his training for this match paid for entirely by John Peretti. I would be interested in knowing where that training was, because John Peretti was so mad about Gary Myers wearing shoes for some ridiculous fucking reason. Like, I think maybe he thought they were going to cause cuts or something. But given that I've only seen literally one cut from a high kick wearing wrestling shoes, I'm not sure that our man John Peretti was actually, you know, given any reason for being so vehemently against wrestling shoes. But of course he managed to bring that shit to the UFC afterwards, and then eventually to modern day Ryzen, which is deeply interesting. They're not even allowing knees from guys who are wearing wrestling shoes. In my opinion, deeply ridiculous. I believe Gary Myers had just passed to top half guard, but I can't see if Thomas Glanville had recovered guard from our current angle, which is literally just both guys' faces while
And Meyer spits out his
they
mouth.
try to land ineffective hammer fists on each other. And I believe that's the end of the round. It is indeed.
Not much of a confrontation.
And that was, amen, John, you're right, that was boring at some points, and it ended up in a draw. A spirited third phase of that ended in a draw, of course, with no winner.
Unfortunately, we miss Thomas Glanville giving John Brady the finger. But here we are, we're going to see Todd Bjornathan taking on Alain Goez. Both these guys, Pancras veterans, Alain Goez showing up against Frank Shamrock that one time in a great fight that I thoroughly recommend watching. And Todd Bjornathan coming from AMC Pancration, being trained by Matt Hughes, showing up a few times in Shudo, and now here he is in Battlecade Extreme Fighting 4. A bit of a height difference here, almost 4 inches between the two fellas. Will we... I can't remember what I cut out. I'm pretty sure I cut out almost everything, so I think they're just going to walk out straight into the ring now. Yes, there's Todd Bentham looking in decent shape with a nice flat top haircut and a good fade.
Only a 5 black belts under the Gene Lee belt, and currently training under Higgin Machacho of the Machacho Brothers.
And here's John Danahue, the referee. I'm not sure why he's being put over so much. Last time they had Goko Chivichin as their referee. Goko's an odd one in that he sort of had that 1980s marketing behind him, in that he was a secret master trained underneath his grandfather and whatever else, rather than, you know, here's a guy, here's what he's competed in, and here's why he's decent, where it was a lot more of that, here is his secret familial lineage, and that's why he's going to be really good. But apparently Goko was actually quite good, but unfortunately we do have to blame Goko for Edmund Tarverdian and his ruining of Travis Brown and... Ow, man. What's his fucking name? I can't remember it. Not Rory McDonald, the other guy. Jake Ellenberger. Yeah, I believe that if Jake Ellenberger and Travis Brown had never been to Glendale, never seen Edmund Tarverdian in their life, they would be in much better positions in them. Of course, I could be wrong about that. But here we are. It is Alain Goez taking on Todd Bjornathan. See how they go.
Set to go, 3 5-minute phases, periods, anything you like to call them. 1 minute break in between.
Someone's going to have to explain why they got this other guy in. John Peretti I can understand, given that he was the promoter. I can understand him being on commentary, but the play-by-play guy they have is fucking awful. Jabs coming from Todd Bjornathan. He's trying to circle on the outside, but he is getting cornered by Alain Goez. Blows briefly, grabbing clinch there.
So Bjornathan and Goez off to a boxing type start.
Jabs from Bjornathan.
Goez pretty
Goez lifting up the front. He's doing the Gracie boxing. High chin, stomping to the front knee and trying to lead leg kick to that front leg. Nice right hand from Bjornathan. Lands a right hand. And Goez drops to his back. Lands a triangle. Jumping triangle. Very nice triangle. Got that locked up on Bjornathan's head. Bjornathan very stuck and is tapping. And that is it. Your winner in not very long at all. Alain Goez. Which makes me very unhappy because I don't like Alain Goez. I think he's a dick. I remember his matches against Anthony Macias. He was cheating like a motherfucker. But that is life. Alright, next up we have Paul Jones taking on Eric Paulson. I believe it's Paul Jones. Just going to double check that one.
very similar, and that's one reason their matchup should be very even.
Yes, Paul Jones taking on Eric Paulson. Paul Jones fought in the USWF underneath Steve Nelson. If you want to hear about Steve Nelson's story, you should listen to the episode of the We Are Rising podcast that has interviewed that man. He fought in the USWF, he fought in UWFI, and had shoot style matches in UWFI, as well as fighting on the Valet Tudo Japan cards and the Extreme Fighting. Whereas Paul Jones has fought on that promotion and is now here in the Battlecade Extreme Fighting, taking on the Shuto light heavyweight champion at the time, I believe, Eric Paulson, which should be a good little match, given that both of these guys are grapplers.
From Los Angeles, California, current shoot wrestling light heavyweight world champion with a record of 16-2. He stands 29 years old, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in tonight at 195 pounds, Eric Paulson.
Eric Paulson, only 1 year older than I am at this time, and looking about 10. He looks like he's about 40, but apparently he's just one of those old faces.
In Eric's corner. He's a legend. He goes right back to Bruce Lee. That's Bruce Lee's #1 student.
What type of an effect on a bout like this would you expect it to have,
I think
training-wise?
I just think it's so supportive for him to come here, for Eric.
Of course, John Danaher talking shit to his commentator on the table, his co-commentator on the table here, and we'll see how these fellas go. This looks like it is stuck together from various pieces of tatami mat, which is a good way to put together a mat, and we will see this match going. Paul Jones immediately shooting in on Eric Paulson, grabbing the double underhooks. Paulson, I don't think wrestled at school, did Jeet Kune Do before transitioning into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and shoot fighting afterwards. Paul Jones wearing bodybuilding trunks, which I love to see, because it's a great look. Swinging round punches from Eric Paulson, sort of glancing off the ears of Paul Jones. Probably very annoying, moderately painful, but not necessarily concussive shots. I have seen those be effective one time. Oh, nice! Saito suplex from Paul Jones there into top side control on Eric Paulson. I have seen those sort of swinging punches from around somebody's head be effective exactly once, and that was Mark Kerman versus Fedor Emelianenko. Coleman had most of Fedor Emelianenko's back and was swinging punches around, and they were landing quite hard before Emelianenko managed to return to his feet and secure the armbar on Mark Coleman. So, yeah, I'm not sure how much damage Eric Paulson was doing there. Punches to the body from Paul Jones, elevator hook attempt from Eric Paulson, and that failed. Paul Jones briefly passed to side control before being re-guarded by Eric Paulson. Working the guard of Paulson here. Paulson grapevine the legs, trying to sort of release the pressure that Paul Jones is putting on his noggin, because Paul Jones is tripoding, getting up all of his weight onto his feet and onto his head, and that head putting a lot of pressure onto the noggin of Eric Paulson. Paulson's got a secure closed guard here, but he is up against the fence, so his movement is going to be limited. He's gone to feet on hips and or like shin guard here. But he's not going to submit the man here because he's got nowhere for his hips to go. Whether or not Paul Jones can land any punches is a different matter. Paul Jones landing to the body, couple to the face, and he's stacked all the way into Eric Paulson's guard again. Yeah, keeping Paulson's shoulders up against the fence seems to be pretty safe for him because Paulson cannot. He's trying to kick up for arm bars, but he can't move his hips away, so he can't actually secure them. His shoulders are stuck, and so his entire body is sort of stuck there. Ooh, armbar attempt, but Jones keeps his hips square, prevents the armbar attempt from Paulson.
You can put pressure on the elbow, pressure on the arm. Opponents having their arm.
Paulson trying to work single wrist grip there, but has lost it and got punched in the body a couple of times with the other arm.
Jones in control. Little more than 2.
Jones keeping his hips right in line with Eric Paulson's, preventing him from throwing up any submissions from the bottom.
I'm watching for this armbar. The way he turns around.
Paulson trying for that single butterfly hook sweep again, but has failed that, but has managed to turn himself off the fence. Whether or not he's able to throw up any submissions now is a different matter. Paul Jones putting a lot of pressure on Eric Paulson. Paulson shoving back to half guard, single butterfly hook maybe.
Switch into an offensive mode, and Jones
Trying to stiff arm away the head of Jones.
Is definitely the stronger of the two.
Yeah, he's a wrestler. He's used to being on top, and this is very much the same.
Single butterfly hook. Oh, nice. So Paul Jones used his Keza hips there, judo hips, switched his hips over, stepped off the butterfly hook of Eric Paulson and prevented the sweep there before coming back into Eric Paulson's butterfly guard. Paulson trying to hip bump sweep before getting nearly half his back taken, but turning back and giving up proper guard. Half butterfly guard here, kind of in danger of a smash pass from Paul Jones.
Doesn't Jones look a little lethargic at the moment?
Yeah, he's taken 4 minutes of being on top. It doesn't look like he's going for the finish as much as he was earlier.
Still seeing some guard work from Paulson. Paulson trying to create distance from Jones, but Jones keeping his hips square and stuck to those of Paulson, landing the occasional punch. Got a half pass here all the way around into top side control. Working some punches, trying to set up sort of half Kazura Kezikatami. His knee right in against the hips of Eric Paulson, preventing the get up and or back take attempt. Paulson's managed to return to his knees, working a double wrist lock on the close side here, side up against the fence, but that's not going to work. You need Paul Jones around the other side to finish that hold.
So the first phase.
He might be able to like shuck him by if he uses a sucker drag, but it's going to be very difficult because I believe that Paul Jones is a significantly strong wrestler. That's it, being told to stand up, and I believe that's the end of the round.
What's he look like to you? Did he shoot it all out there? Did he leave it?
He slowed down, didn't he?
It looked like he had
Eric Paulson's corner getting some ice onto him. I believe that's Dan Insanto in his corner, because Eric Paulson was of course a Jeet Kune Do practitioner. Although that did include Shuto, shoot wrestling, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at this point, before he became black belt, and then later on a catch wrestling and shoot wrestling black belt. Let's see this Saito suplex from Paul Jones. Nice suplex, look at that, popping Eric Paulson all the way up, landing him right on his shoulders and bonking his noggin on the ground. Paulson trying to work the guard here, but Paul Jones using that to pass and land some punches and forearms.
Here we go. Well, you know, I think he had a position here where he could have rolled him over, and he didn't. Let's see what he does.
So an opportunity lost. It looks like Jones wanted to kick to start round two.
Paulson throwing out kicks, ends up in deep in a single leg from Paul Jones. We'll see where he goes from this sprawl position. Paulson on the front headlock, trying to stiff arm the head away of Paul Jones. Paul Jones has got both of his legs underneath him. So this is an interesting one in that it is a it's a flowing position. No one really has control here. So Paul Jones, if he works his legs around the right position, works his grip around the right position, will be able to finish the takedown. Whereas Eric Paulson, yep, there it is. There's the takedown finish, but Paulson has switched to inverted triangle on Paul Jones. Yeah, whereas Eric Paulson... Paulson pulling up the shorts of Paul Jones, working the wedgie. Punches to the body, punches to the kidneys. This is sort of a 50-50 position because maybe Eric Paulson will be able to finish the lock here, or maybe Paul Jones will be able to pop his head free, because Eric Paulson is not on top, he's on the bottom here in this inverted triangle, which is it's a position that you can pull free from. Paul Jones has a grip on his arm that was being threatened by the double wrist lock, and although that Eric Paulson is doing his best to deal damage, he's not going to be able to finish. Trying to cinch up that triangle, but Paul Jones has popped his head free, manages to shove his arm in, and so now he is in Eric Paulson's guard. Very nice work on the ground from Paul Jones. Good defense.
You get a good overhead view of that battle inside.
Eric Paulson shoving up the face of Paul Jones, maybe trying to create space, work his way up to an escape, getting his feet on the hips. But Jones using that head pressure, using that wrestling strength to stay on top. Keep dealing pressure onto the noggin and body of Eric Paulson.
Eric seems to be letting go of his guard. That worries me.
Paulson using the fence, trying to turn away, create some more space.
But I'll tell you something.
Great shot of Paul Jones's buttocks here.
To lay in his guard and get hit.
What's the move Jones would like to set up from here?
Paul Jones got a single crossface here.
Stands up. But he
What can he
shouldn't
do with that?
from here. If he's happy and content in the position, why doesn't he hurt him from there?
You don't get anything just for doing this.
Heel kicks to the buttocks from Paulson.
Heel kicks to the gluteus maximus.
As fucking John Peretti would say, heel kicks to the gluteus maximus. What a dick. Good punches from Paul Jones there. Landed a few to the noggin of Paulson before he managed to create space with his legs and hips. Paulson smashing back down into the flat guard of Paulson. Whether or not he can land punches from here is a different matter. Americana from the middle of guard from Eric Paulson. Can he create a sweep from there? I know that Josh Barnett used that against Andrei Arlovsky. Not necessarily to create a sweep, but he used it to sort of like make him get shitty with being in guard and back out and then restart it again from a scrambling position. Heel kicks from Eric Paulson, not seemingly doing much to Paul Jones. Triangle attempt, uses that to pass, does Paul Jones. Regard attempt from Eric Paulson. Good use of the hip change from Paul Jones to pass into top guard. Using a quarter Nelson here to keep Eric Paulson flat, lands in mount. Paulson underhook escape, lands up on the turtle. Whether or not you see Paul Jones use the wrestling ride to deal damage is a different matter. But it would be good to see palm strike to the back of the head. A couple of slaps to the back of the head from Paul Jones here. Yeah, he's got that wrist ride, so he is working his wrestling ride. Knee bar attempt from Eric Paulson. You need to bend your legs, Paulson. Bend your legs. They are straight. He's not going to be able to commit his body to this leg lock. He's going to be trying to pull only with his abdominals, not with his hamstrings, and he's not going to be able to finish. He needs to get the triangle in on his legs to finish this hold. Going to a toe hold on Paul Jones. Maybe that's a little bit better, but Jones finding the grips here, keeping his leg bent, keeping weight on his leg, and nice hammer fist to the side of Eric Paulson's noggin there. And he managed to sprawl out, ends up in top half guard, slides over to top mount. Well done, Paul Jones. Cross face on Eric Paulson's noggin. Trying to just work, fist choke as far as I can tell. Paulson trying to escape, manages to hip bump Paul Jones off him. Paul Jones using a wrestling headlock, keeping control of Paulson for the moment. Time. So we've got one more 5-minute round. Jones looking pretty relaxed here. A little bit tired. That's to be expected. You've been fighting for 10 minutes. It is a long time. We're going to see here punches from Paul Jones.
Unable to give him the win thus far. He's in control, pounding away, but it's been all sizzle, no steak so far, John.
Well, the position is controlled by Eric, and when Jones does get a nice position like you see here, Eric reverses it out the back, goes right for the ankle initially, then he drops in for the knee.
John Peretti trying to pretend that Eric Paulson is winning this fight despite being razzled and controlled by Paul Jones nearly the entire time. Alright, here we go, third round. Let's see what these guys have for each other. Jab right hand from Paul Jones. Eric Paulson using the slips. Nice right hand from Eric Paulson, followed by a right uppercut. Jones, nice diving low single there. Manages to finish that low single into Eric Paulson's attempted triangle, keeping the other leg. Needs to square up on the hips. Eric Paulson attempting a arm bar. Paul Jones has yanked his elbow back. Whether or not Eric Paulson can get his thighs out the side and up on the elbow joint is a different matter. Crossed legs, so it's going to be difficult for Eric Paulson to finish, but it is going to be a very secure position. Paul Jones just smushed down on Eric Paulson's head, working the stack. Paulson straightening out, but Paul Jones's elbow is almost all the way free here. Elbow free, Paul Jones in a triangle here of Eric Paulson's. Manages to drop his shoulder in and pass onto top side control. Eric Paulson getting sideways on his hips, getting half guard back, but he is smooshed up against the cage, so there's only so far he can move. Maybe if he manages to get an underhook, he might be able to sweep and or pop out the back of Paul Jones, but for the moment he is moderately stuck. A 2-on-1, Paul Jones, nice grip breaking there, dropping his knee and separating the grips of Eric Paulson. Paulson manages to get to both knees, but Paul Jones has switched round into a wrestling ride. grab ride from Paul Jones, the way his feet are in. That way when Eric Paulson pops, he was supposed to stay on the back, but he managed to miss it. Into a low single, Paulson sitting back, trying to use this to spin into some variety of attack. Punches to the face of Paul Jones. Just sitting on the back of Paul Jones for the moment. Paul Jones pulling the ankles out, trying to go to like a wrestling roll, as far as I can tell, like an ankle roll. And just pop up, sits on both ankles of Eric Paulson. If he kneels on the ankles, he might be able to build up before Eric Paulson attempts to roll through for the knee bar. Paulson in on that knee bar attempt, trying to go to a heel hook on the neck. Reverse toe hold, actually. Not the way that I would use this. I would have used the heel hook because Jones has no room to roll against the fence, whereas Eric Paulson is actually making it more difficult. Rolling, trying to like put a lock on in the direction that will allow Paul Jones to roll. Nice hammer fist there from Paulson. Obviously hurt Paul Jones. Alright, Paul Jones peeling apart the grips here. If he manages to pin that hand, he might be able to work his way up. Alright, so we're going to go for the knee bar here. Passes round to single ankle, so he's going to work for the ankle lock here. Paul Jones has got some weight on that ankle. It's going to make it difficult to finish. Got his knee free. Well done, Eric Paulson, defending that, going back to the knee, going to the inside heel hook. Stomps from Paul Jones, preventing the inside heel hook. Toe hold from Eric Paulson. Nice leg lock attempts here. Good defense as well from Paul Jones, working his defense on the grips, maintaining his weight on the attacked leg, working really, really well. Where is Eric Paulson going now? He's trying to go to a grip under the arm, maybe, for the knee bar? No, going to a toe hold on the missing leg of Paul Jones. Jones trying to straight ankle lock the leg of Eric Paulson here. Wouldn't be causing much pain, but would be causing a little bit of discomfort. Paulson trying to spin into a knee bar on the leg of Paul Jones. Spins all the way around, comes up on top, digging the crossface, trying to free his own leg to land some damage and possibly finish the fight. First triangle, maybe? Currently just in sprawl. Punches to the body from Eric Paulson, punches to the leg, which is a dumb place to punch. In my opinion, doesn't deal any damage. Going to crucifix on Paul Jones. Hammer fist and punches to the side of the head. Paul Jones trying to build to his knees. Nice single arm ride and crucifix from Eric Paulson, landing some damage. If he really went for it now and like put a lot of heat on these punches, maybe he could get the finish. But he only has so long. Paul Jones building all the way up. Got Eric Paulson in the fireman's carry. Stepping away. Rolling Alabama slam. Maybe even a Samoan drop from our man Paul Jones. That was a pretty cool finish to the match. And that is it. The end of the third phase, as they call them in Battlecade Extreme Fighting 4, and that is the end of the match. I believe it comes to a draw after this. Alright, here we are. It is Kevin Jackson, Olympic silver medalist, world champion gold medalist, taking on John Loba, the toughest man in mixed martial arts he's been called before. Should be interesting because Loba previously went to a draw with Battlecade Extreme Fighting's main man, Igor Zinoviev.
He is 28 years old, standing 5 feet, 11 inches tall.
Whereas this is Kevin Jackson's debut of mixed martial arts. Some of the crowd not a fan of Loba.
From Gilbert, Arizona, the 1992 Olympic gold medalist in freestyle wrestling, 1995
Olympic gold medalist, sorry. World champion silver and Olympic gold, Kevin Jackson.
fighting debut. He is 32 years old, standing 5 foot tall, 10 inches, weighing in tonight at 199 pounds. Wrestled for Iowa State University, Kevin Jackson.
Kevin Jackson looking in absolutely great shape.
Kevin Jackson, John Loba.
With his sort of half American flag trunks, which are a great look.
John Loba, of course, fought
Alright, let's see how these fellas go. John Loba, of course, landed a shoot Northern Lights suplex on Igor Zinoviev last time, which was cool as fuck.
A lot of strength in here, doesn't he?
Both guys sinking into sort of a wrestling crouch. Jabs from Jackson, which is a little bit unexpected. Another jab. Loba milling his hands, trying to feint out Jackson, but Jackson is landing most of the punches so far. I don't think Loba has thrown one.
Waiting for Jackson to take that takedown. Hasn't happened yet.
No, but he threw a jab, which I thought was really unconventional.
Well, Jackson promised a new look.
Loba jabs, ends up getting shot on, immediately passed by Jackson. That was incredibly impressive. Just takes Loba down, immediately scoots all the way past his legs into topside control. Lands a couple of punches. Loba trying to recover guard here, digging in the half butterfly. Jackson may pass the other way if he's thinking cleverly. Loba turns himself all the way upside down, ends up nearly getting side control, but into the knee bar on Kevin Jackson. Jackson maintaining weight on that knee, peeling the legs apart of Loba. And or just keeping weight stacked on Loba's head so he can't kick up into the knee bar attempt. Great shot of John Donahue's buttocks there. Not necessarily what we wanted to see. Punch to the head from Jackson. Trying to peel apart the grips and maintain pressure on the noggin and neck of John Loba. Oh, nice knee there. Grounded knee from Kevin Jackson. Unexpected. Peeling apart the legs. There we go. It's a proper leg lock defense from Kevin Jackson. Peeling apart the legs. Preventing Loba from crossing them over and working an Ashigarami leg lock attack. Ashigarami, of course, being the dickhead dickhead term invented by John Danaher. Just the leg lock entanglement, which is literally what Ashigarami means. Leg entanglement. Ashi, leg, garami, entanglement. Alright, here we are in the guard of John Loba, getting punched in the face by Kevin Jackson. Punch from the bottom from John Loba, a couple of punches from the bottom from John Loba. Kevin Jackson stacking in.
Let's see how strong Jackson is against somebody as strong as Loba.
Oh, yeah. He said he enjoyed the idea of being able to punch down at his opponent.
Punches to the body from Jackson, but really he's sort of stuck in the guard of Loba for the moment. Alright, building up some pressure, building up to his feet and putting a lot of head pressure on the head of John Loba, which is exactly what I would do were a wrestler as strong as Kevin Jackson. Loba trying to kick up a triangle and or submission attempt, getting smashed by, and Jackson landing some punches. Loba cancels out of the invert and ends up trying to go back to guard, ending up getting stacked and cradled very briefly by Jackson. Jackson landing punches. Loba trying to hold on to the arm of Jackson as Jackson lands a few hits. A lot of pressure from the top from Jackson. Just an incredible amount. Like, you can see that Loba's trying to kick him out and Jackson is using that to pass his legs, working into pinning positions.
Side control, but side control, but it's not finish holds again. Exactly, no finishing holds. Good position, but he doesn't know what to do.
John Preddy just said good position, but he doesn't know what to do. So what he's decided to do is crossface John Loba's head into the canvas while kneeing him in the side of the fucking head. That's a pretty good decision of what to do from that position. Fuck you, John Preddy. For some reason, John Preddy didn't like wrestlers, and I genuinely don't understand it. Like, as an American, you'd think that he would have liked wrestlers as fighters, but, you know, fuck him. Loba attempting to kick up for an armbar, Jackson using it to pass again, rounds to the other side into north-south. One of his arms is kind of stuck in between the legs of Jackson. Jackson's got underhook on one leg, but I'm pretty sure that Loba's got an underhook on one leg, but I'm pretty sure that Jackson will be able to reef himself free and land some more damage onto the brain and chest of John Loba. Because far as it has been so far, it's just been constant domination by Kevin Jackson.
I think that Loba's got a lot of respect for Jackson's strength now.
Yes, but
Nice punch to the head and passes round to a wrestling ride. Loba trying to get to Turtle, trying to work Turtle, trying to roll through for the knee bar. Jackson sprawling around, preventing the knee bar and landing quite a few punches. Passes the guard of Loba like it's fucking nothing into head arm control very briefly. Break, and that is the end of the first round. But it has been all Jackson, all the time. And Loba is fucked up. Look at his fucking face. His cuts are underneath his cheek and on the side of his head. Alan Goyes in the corner of John Loba. That's interesting. Doctor's going to check his eyeballs, make sure he's not popping anything free that he shouldn't be. Checking those cuts, it's fine. He's saying that those are okay. Doctor's got a bit of a bald spot going, as does the other ring official. Referee wiping up some blood on the canvas.
Well, they're replacing the right glove on Kevin Jackson.
Good punches from Jackson. And a good prevent defense on that leg lock attempt from Loba. Working it, sprawling his hips around, preventing the hip attempt. So when Loba tried to adjust his guard, just immediately scooched past and lands a lot more punches.
It's not just speed, is it, Igor?
Wrestling in the freestyle wrestling, because it's more speed, for just walk, moving in the ground.
Kevin Jackson getting sprayed with a fan with a water spray bottle attached. Very cool little object. Trying to cool him down. Talking to him, probably telling him just continue to beat the shit out of him. You're doing great.
So Jackson may not know all those submission holds, but
Yeah, look at this. Look at it. Stiff arming with the palm, covering the mouth of Loba, as well as landing knees. Very good. Very consciousness of the rules. Good consciousness of the rules from Kevin Jackson, to knowing what damage he could deal from any given position.
now the glove is being brought in by the referee for Jackson.
I think this delay is helping John Loba tremendously.
It's a sense to get his awareness back and try to plan what he'll do in phase 2.
Well, we have an extra glove now.
Loba breathing as deeply as he can. New glove going on the arm of Kevin Jackson.
You think that's going to hurt his vision, Igor?
Making sure his fingers are all in the right spot. I don't know what happened to the glove for Kevin Jackson. Something did.
And he won't be able to see the right hands coming at him if the eye starts to...
They haven't taped that glove up. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Is that not right?
And with the eye the way it is, there will be many more of those right hands because they cannot be...
Loba taking the opportunity, getting some deep breaths.
Why this matchup of the disciplines is interesting. He's got the wrestling skills. Loba has the battlecade and ground skills.
Wrap the glove. What are you people doing?
Does John look tired?
People are such morons.
I think it's prepared, but it puts very well, And
Here we are. So we're going to see that leg lock roll attempt from
He can. You think he can still win?
John Loba eating some fucking punches. I've seen guys that do that. They try to Granby underneath you and you just move with them, and then it just looks so disappointed when you roll all the way around. Alright, here we go with the second round. Immediately takedown from Kevin Jackson. Smashing John Loba. Smash pass all the way around. Front headlock.
Isn't it, Igor?
Working his way, fighting the grips of John Loba.
Had Loba storm him in the beginning.
And he's just decided that he doesn't want to be in front headlock anymore, so he just puts John Loba on his back with a half ouch. Really good movement from Kevin Jackson. What to be expected from an Olympic gold fucking medalist? Seriously though.
He's actually tried to stalk him a bit. Yes.
Alright, shoving down on the head of John Loba. Punches from Kevin Jackson. Underneath the head and arm, so he's going to cinch that up and work his way past. because John Loba might try for a funk roll here because he's underneath the leg of Jackson. Alright, there we are. Cinched up from Kevin Jackson. Whoop! All the way around to side control and clenching it in. John Loba trying to like push down on his arm, open up his veins, but he's just getting squeezed by the fucking pressure from Kevin Jackson. That wrestling pressure, and he is tapping. And that is the end of your match. Your winner in not very long at all into the second round. 1 minute and 20 seconds is Kevin Jackson. Well done, our Olympic gold medalist. Now... No, he isn't actually Extreme Fighting middleweight champion, but, you know, he did pretty well. Alright, next matchup is Matt Hume taking on Pat Miletich. Both of these guys, legendary trainers in the term of MMA. Hume kind of ended up on a middling record. I believe he was 5-5 when he retired. Pat Miletich ended up with a much nicer looking record. Fought in the UFC, became the UFC welterweight champion very briefly. Fought in rings, fought pretty much everywhere. So in terms of like an MMA pedigree, definitely beats definitely beats Matt Hume. But in my opinion, Matt Hume is the significantly better coach, given that he was sort of very responsible for the career turnaround of Maha Sakurai and pretty much completely responsible for the career of Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Matt Hume's career of 226-18, I don't know how fucking realistic that is. Like, possibly a good chunk of that is like his kickboxing career, but yeah, I don't know whether or not he is genuinely 226-18 in sanctioned martial arts competition. Right, here we go. And yeah, Gene LaBelle is working some commentary at this point. I don't know why they didn't have him on the fucking commentary booth the entire time, rather than John Peretti. Fuck John Peretti off, put him out the back, and bring Gene LaBelle in. Right, here we go. Pat Miletich with the bad boy butt eyes, landing some jabs on Matt Hume. Hume parrying, nice leg kick. Another nice leg kick from Matt Hume, working his Muay Thai chops.
You notice how he keeps them low, those kicks? Very good. I love a man that does kicks and can wrestle. And the legendary Gene LaBelle is with us.
Thai clinch from Matt Hume, sort of stopping that wrestling of Pat Miletich. Throws the knee, Pat Miletich goes to the single leg. Matt Hume trying to guillotine Pat Miletich. Manages to recover guard using the threat of that submission all the way around to guard. Punches to the side of the head. Slap to the side of the ear from Pat Miletich.
Well, you know, Gene, those little slaps on the back of the neck are just for distraction, right?
Distraction, but they all hurt. They all hurt there, John.
Yeah, good slaps to the back of the head. Good punch from the top from Pat Miletich, working his ground and pound, building up to head pressure, tripoding on his head, a la Damian Maia. If you want to see someone who works like good head pressure and good head pressure as a pass, you should watch some Damian Maia in the... Hey.
See him digging his fingers in under his armpits to get those nerve endings?
That hurts.
Any place it tickles, it hurts, right, Gene?
But at this time, you don't feel tickling.
Miletich really trying to pass the guard of Matt Hume, but he's kind of stuck. It's not flattening the hips out, not working his legs in, because you need to smush those hips. There we go. Now he's got pressure on the hips, so he's backing out of the guard of Matt Hume. Of course, we'll see the open guard chops of Matt Hume. Hume going to feed on hips. Actually, he's got 1 foot in the shorts of Pat Miletich, which might make it difficult for Pat Miletich to pass. Miletich slicing his knee through. I'm pretty sure he could pass if there wasn't for that foot of Matt Hume. Smashes down one leg. Hume manages to hip escape away and recover guard. Good punch to the head from Pat Miletich.
I thought Matt would have been more aggressive from the guard.
Another good punch to the head from Miletich.
Well, he's probably waiting his opportunity to slip a leg over and go for a straight arm bar. I saw him, Matt, in his last fight, cut a person open. They had to stop it. He's a good fighter. They're both fighters. They're well matched.
Slap to the back of the neck from Matt Hume. And well countered there, like blocked the punch from Pat Miletich. Pat Miletich loaded up. Matt Hume had his arm on the bicep before Miletich even managed to throw.
Those shots and try to mount.
But yeah, really stifling Miletich in the guard here. Goes to Butterfly, manages to build all the way up. Miletich back on this single leg. Hume briefly thinks about grabbing onto the fence to defend this takedown. Digging the underhook on one side. Ooh, nice! Really nice single leg defense from Matt Hume. Uses the guillotine here. Oh, nice knee tap from Miletich there. Almost into a scoop slam, actually. Miletich tries to pass the guard of Matt Hume. Matt Hume manages to change the direction of his hips and recover guard instead. Good grappling match here between these two fellas. Like, it was a nice get up and a nice takedown from Miletich there, and then nice prevention of the pass from Matt Hume, even though he was in a disadvantageous position.
Miletich has had the top spot from the beginning. Hume trying to fight out of guard. On the bottom, some clubbing shots.
Punches to the body from Miletich.
These are effective. They might pay dividends in phase 3 if we get that far.
I didn't see any real effective ones.
Good punch to the head from Miletich there. Hume got control of both of his wrists, preventing the further punches to the noggin.
Now he's pacing himself.
Oh, there we go. Miletich using the cage, stacking. Oh, nice! Nice stand-up. Good frog kick from Hume there. High kick from Hume. Slips that leg kick from Pat Miletich, pulls his leg out of the way. Nice right hand. Good knee to the noggin. Another good knee to the noggin. Nice knees from the clinch here. And Miletich is flopped to his back. Pass from Miletich. Miletich is flopped to his back. Punches from Hume. Another nice punch from Hume. And the referee has stepped in there. I believe it is the end of the round. Oh, yeah. So I've actually called it the end of that one. So, Hume broke Miletich's nose with those knees and punches to the face, and so they called the match at the end there. And unfortunately, that was the end of Gene LaBelle on commentary, because it was actually quite good. He was putting both guys over, saying like what they were trying to do, what they were trying to set up with the punches. Anytime John Peretti was like, oh, you know, he's not doing very much effective, he's like, well, this is actually what he's trying to do, and he's being effectively stopped by the other guy. It was really, really good, but for some fucking reason, they only had him on for that one fight. Alright, here we have John Lewis, not necessarily my favourite fighter. Just, like, John Lewis, talking to people, guys who watched John Lewis, knew how John Lewis trained. Like, he had such potential, he was incredible in training, but he just never managed to put it all together because, in my opinion, he was always trying not to lose, not necessarily trying to win. Like, guys he could steamroll, he'd walk right over, but guys who gave shit back, he'd sort of, he'd tighten up his game, not take very many risks, and in the end, it'd be boring as hell, and he wouldn't necessarily lose, but he wouldn't necessarily win. So, Kenny Monday, former Oklahoma Cowboy, Olympic silver medalist, World Cup gold medalist, if I remember correctly. Hell of a fucking wrestler. And this was only like MMA shows, it's ridiculous. I think Kenny Monday wrestled Matt Hume at the Contenders show. Alright. Very tight guard from Kenny Monday. John Lewis feinting and faking outside, but he's not throwing anything at Kenny Monday, therefore Kenny Monday doesn't have to react to his feints and movement at all. Jabs, just completely beaches Lewis there. Lewis had a hold of both of his knees and Monday just threw him off like he didn't even matter. Low kick from Lewis there, landed decently to the back of the calf of Monday. Nice shot from Monday, just very strong, very powerful. Builds up on the sprawl of John Lewis, and John Lewis eventually has to pull guard. Like, you could see that wasn't his decision. He was doing his best to defend on that takedown, and eventually he's just like, ugh, I'm going to have to pull guard, otherwise I'm going to get past straight away. building up in his guard attempt. High guard here. It's pretty good positioning, but there's a lot of pressure coming from the top of Kenny Monday. Builds up into a triangle. Monday does have his fist involved though, so he's preventing the triangle and the armbar. Switches to an armbar here. Stacks up. He's got his elbow in there. Whether or not John Lewis can finish that is different, because he's got that arm pretty well, but Monday is preventing that and manages to pass all the way around. Back into the triangle of John Lewis, lands some punches to the head. Lewis going to the armbar on the elbow. Straight armbar, straight arms from John Lewis. Ooh, that is tight. That is tight as fuck, but Kenny Monday just, for some reason, doesn't care. He's extracting his elbow and manages to escape that armbar. John Lewis trying to enter a knee bar, ditches the knee bar, goes back to guard, getting smooshed by Kenny Monday. Punches to the head from Kenny Monday. Alright, working into the guard of John Lewis here, smooshing down onto the top of his guard, building pressure, just keeping him stuck. John Lewis attempting to use the fence to pull himself around to maybe try for another armbar. Yeah, really stiff arming on the fence, trying to work his way around to like enter an attack, or at least like give himself space to hip escape from the just sheer pressure of Kenny Monday.
Trying to utilize leverage and full weight distribution to lean down on Lewis here. And like we've seen before, does not have a myriad.
If I remember correctly, Kenny Monday actually into the Contenders against, not the Contenders series, the Contenders, which was a submission grappling show, also promoted by John Lewis, in fact using all the same equipment from the Battlecade shows, and he entered that against Matt Hume, and he got submitted in, because he got super greedy. Like, he took Matt Hume down, controlled him for a very long time, and then decided that he was going to go for a straight ankle lock, and then Matt Hume's, like, countered into a heel hook and finished Kenny Monday that way. So yeah, like, he had experienced submission grappling before this match. And he's also just has, like, the wrestling prowess of a decent Olympian. Like, not even a decent Olympian, an incredible Olympian. And so he's able to control, like, a decent MMA wrestler in John Lewis.
Some pounding shots by Jackson. First
Punches to the body, punches to the head from Kenny Monday.
He's got the arm again. Let's see if John Rogers legs up. He does.
John Lewis throwing up another armbar, but gets countered, gets his hips squared up, and eats a few more punches from Kenny Monday.
So Kenny Monday, a newcomer, has seen some moves, reacted to some moves, and put on the pressure. He established
Really just a lot of pressure coming from the top of Kenny Monday here. Working his forearm into the face and throat of John Lewis, which is an uncomfortable as fuck position.
both of these guys might not mind a phase two to get things started all over again.
Good head pressure, uses that to build up. Attempted armbar briefly, like you can see the arms, the legs of John Lewis flap here as he tried to move his way up, but Kenny Monday just keeping his hips stuck to John Lewis's, building up, putting on pressure and landing a few punches before smooshing back into this solid guard position. Digging his forearm right into the throat of John Lewis. What a rough spot to be. Uppercuts and hooks around the body of an arm of John Lewis.
And has put on an excellent performance. John Lewis, again, as always, poised, even if he's on the bottom. And phase one has been an interesting one. We look set to go into phase two.
A terrific first round.
John Peretti calls that a terrific first round. Terrific first round for our man. Look, he gives John Lewis a little boot in the butt as he walks back to his corner. What a dick. Yeah, Lewis looks fucked up. Like, the pressure, he's talking to his corner and he's trying to relax. Igor Zinoviev jumped up there, rubbing the noggin of John Lewis, trying to return, like, I don't know, energy to his brain, but he looks wrecked. You see that double leg of Kenny Monday. He shoots all the way. Look how long that shot was, all the way in on the hips of John Lewis. And he gets the body lock, even though John Lewis was trying to sprawl, and crunches him all the way in, just flattens his back, squeezes his back in, and finishes that takedown. And eventually John Lewis is like, oh, I can either be mounted or I can pull guard. And so he pulls guard. Good punches from Kenny Monday too. Look at the unhappy faces on the corner of John Lewis there. Alright, here we go. See what Lewis can do. Taking jabs on the noggin of Kenny Monday. Kenny Monday got his hands nice and high with his head leaning a little bit away. A bit of that very strong guy who tries MMA stance. Like that, head's lent all the way back. Lewis trying to like fake and wiggle and wobble. Nice jab, lands that jab, but his back is backing up against the fence, so he's going to lose space and power. Looking in really good shape, actually, John Lewis. Like his back is extremely jacked. Got some serious striations, some serious beef, and he's got that weird head shape too, where you got like muscle folding over from your temple over the top of your traps. You only get that on mad jacked people. Jab to the head attempt. Monday actually managed to barrel that one very well. Jib jabs from Kenny Monday.
Well, he jabbed upstairs. He was looking downstairs. He was looking to look for the takedown off the jab.
Manages to parry that one too. Like, it seems to have worked out that, oh, nice right hand from John Lewis, but because he had his hips staying still from the right hand to land with any decent power, Kenny Monday's managed to grab a hold of him, got him in this over-under clinch. Will we see a belly-to-belly suplex from Kenny Monday? Maybe. I would like to. Attempted inside sweep. Attempted guard pull from John Lewis. Nearly hits a sweep there, but Monday passes all the way around. John Lewis attempts to kick up the triangle. Monday's like, no. And walks past it, lands a punch in the middle. Another armbar attempt for John Lewis. But he forgets that one and goes back to guard. Another punch to the head. Lots of punches to the head from Kenny Monday here. Bonk. Oh, lots. Lewis trying to think about the leg. Oh, just rattling his head now, Kenny Monday. Lewis really trying to go for that leg. Get your leg in, Lewis. Kick him up in the armpit and move him away so you can go for the leg. But no, he's getting smushed and passed by Kenny Monday. Lewis manages to ditch that in time and go back to guard.
Why did he do that? Monday should have kept on punching. He had Lewis on the verge of going out.
I told you he was going to ride again, didn't I?
And he is riding.
Already continuing to be just an asshole. He was preventing the fucking leg lock attempt, you dick. Like, as much as he could have kept smashing Lewis in the face, Lewis was nearly all the way in on that leg lock, so putting pressure back on and getting position in the guard was in fact the right decision in terms of winning the fight for Kenny Monday. But I don't remember John Lewis finishing a leg lock in his 10-11 fight career. I feel like it's 5 wins, 5 losses, and 2 draws, so 12 fights? Punches to the body from Monday. Smoosh from Monday. John Lewis doing his best from his back here.
It's an unconventional uppercut, don't you think?
This is an unconventional competition, and it is welcome.
Monday maintaining pressure on his head, down to one knee. Maybe Lewis, if he ditched one leg and went to the half guard, he might be able to scoot out the back, given the way that a lot of Kenny Monday's pressure is based on that one leg. But you never know. I am not a good grappler as John Lewis. Much as I talk shit about him, much as I am the #1 hater of John Lewis on Twitter and YouTube, yeah, he was actually quite a good fighter. Punches to the head from Monday. Lots of punches to the head. Lewis looking stuck. Oh, those are really dealing some damage here as he tried to like dig in for the leg. And the referee's called it! Fair enough, because Lewis looks fucked up. Not necessarily where I would call it, because Lewis actually just attempted to pass guard. Like, if he'd re-guarded and then gotten kicked in the face a few more times, I would have stopped it. Alright, here we are with the main event. It is Maurice Smith taking on Kazunari Murakami. Remember that dipshit from Pride 1. That means Murakami was in fact A21 when he fought in the Limax Cup of 1995, which is pretty cool. What a guy.
This is our final bout of the evening for the Extreme Fighting Heavyweight Championship of the world.
Of course, this is the Extreme Fighting Heavyweight Champion, because Murakami, last time, hit Bart Vale so hard in the face it almost killed him, and last time, Maurice Smith kicked Conan Silveria very, very hard in the face. Murakami has a career record of 21-2. I don't know where this 21-2 come from. I know he was at least 1-1, if not 2. Might have been 3-1 at this point in his career, in terms of fights that I'm aware of. He's, of course, the Wajitsu Keshikai guy. Maurice Smith fought a lot in Pancras, fought a lot of kickboxing, and showed up a couple of times in rings and elsewhere. And he's got Frank Shamrock in his corner, which is cool as hell.
2 losses and 5 draws.
Pretty sure that's his kickboxing career.
He is 35 years old, standing 6
Looking large as a human being, and he was a very large human being.
20 pounds. Maurice Smith.
Looking in great shape. Let's see how he goes against Kazunari, that dipshit Murakami.
Heavyweight championship. Smith ending his last bout on a kick. Kazunari very explosive with his legs too. It will be interesting to see where this bout is waged.
Alright, here we go.
They start. Kazunari with the
Murakami chasing down Smith. Oh, lands the left hook and manages to smash Smith to the ground. But Smith building up. Got a body lock. Eating a lot of punches from Murakami. Trying to build to a butterfly guard. Yes, butterfly. The TK guard from Maurice Smith. But Murakami manages to scoot past that into the top of Smith's half guard. Stiff arming on Smith's face. Smith has the underhook though. Murakami nearly builds to Smith's back, but Smith uses the underhook to scoot all the way out and come up on top. Murakami has single butterfly here. Probably been talking to Carl Luno. Body punches from Smith. Double overhooks from Murakami. Lots of body punches from Smith. Bodies and head. Mixing it up to the various parts of Murakami, landing a lot of damage while he's on top of the ground here.
back, and he wants to establish position as well. Trying to get the arms of Kazunari moved away so he can get into what he wants to do. Smith not quite comfortable yet, but he is punching well.
Those punches are hard.
Fair few punches from Smith here. Murakami cracking down on that one overhook, trying to control the left arm of Smith.
Same spot, so this is repeat damage to the kidney and rib area. Actually, kidney shot's not out. It's the rib area he's landing to on Kazunari.
Lots of punches from Smith. Oh, yeah, and he's got that other arm free. Now he's landing rights and lefts to the head of Murakami. Standing all the way up and just, yep, motioning for Murakami to stand the fuck up, man. Don't be a bitch, Maurice Smith has. Murakami butt scooting ever so slightly towards him, so Smith is going to land some leg kicks while Murakami's on the ground.
Maurice will mow your lawn with that leg.
Nice leg kicks from Smith.
Beckoning him come up.
He's going to back all the way out. He's going to let Murakami stand up. Yep, he's waving at him to tell him to stand up. Murakami waving back, telling him to come into my guard, bro. Climb atop me and meet your doom, says Kazunari Murakami. Good leg kicks from Smith here.
Defense with his feet.
Look at the welt on his left shin from that last one.
He is taking shots. Smith should just keep pounding these leg shots.
I think it'd be great.
Nice leg kick from Smith there. Really getting like both the calf and the quad of Murakami. Not getting very much of the shin and or the knee.
Don't give Kazunari a shot.
That one lifted his butt off the canvas.
The most weird scene we've seen in
Another leg kick. Really working them leg kicks. Murakami nearly trying to stomp on Smith's knee there as he threw the kick. But not really landing very much damage.
Those are horrific.
where you sit back and let the opponent try to punch or kick himself out. Kazunari taking a beating. Smith may try to get these shots to the body here.
More low kicks from Smith.
Now
Working from the Sakuraba position.
Something else.
I feel they should just back all the way over to the other side of the cage and just tell Murakami to stand up. Because the referee will tell him.
These are brutal. He's going to start wincing at that, and then he's going to have another problem.
Well, wait till the second phase.
You know,
Really kicking the absolute shit out of the legs of Murakami there.
you know, take the stuffing out of it.
Well, he is really unloading some shots here to Kazunari.
Murakami trying to stamp on the legs of
He can survive this.
Smith, but Smith's just pulling them out of the way, throwing kicks back.
Watch that big left leg.
There he is, backing all the way up, telling him to stand up, and then crossing his legs. So that will force him to stand up. Well done, Smith.
Let's see what Kazunari has left.
See what he can do here.
Watch this leg kick. The heel
Flips other way.
We've seen that before.
And Murakami's stomping, trying to feint Smith out, but Smith just doesn't give a shit. Nice low kick from Smith as well.
By Kazunari.
Look at the welts forming on Kazunari's thighs now. Wow. Oh, Maurice Smith is setting him up.
Smith pouring at the front hand of Murakami. I think he's going to try and land a long right and then maybe a left hook afterwards. Oh my god, he's just killed him. Didn't need the left hook afterwards, just hits a long right. What the fuck are you doing, referee Denahue? He just rolled Murakami over his shoulder joint, possibly even dislocating it. But yeah, Smith just wrecked him. What a fucking finish that one was. Oh dear. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoy tuning into the Pride Resurrection channel. Anybody who doesn't know, I have my own channel called Gentlemen's Combatives, where I watch a lot of pancras and shoot wrestling. I also sell t-shirts, so you can attempt to buy one of those at gentlemanscombatives@gmail.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys subscribe to the Pride Resurrection channel, and I shall see you all next time.